SymVue Control Screens are a powerful and flexible option for system control. This tech tip explains how to export a single control screen to a T7 touchscreen, control server, and Windows PC. This example is for a 5-zone venue with 6 inputs. User controls include microphone level control, background music selection and level control, zone volume control, and an indicator if the emergency system mute is engaged. This control screen was designed to fit comfortably on all 3 access options. Be aware of which devices you might be exporting to and how the scaling and resolution will differ between them, such as the 5-inch screen on a T5 and a full screen on a Windows PC. First, open up the control screen that you wish to use as the home screen for the configuration. This will be the default screen that the configuration will refer to when waking up from sleep and that all other screens in the configuration will be referenced by. This control system will include a generic home screen that users will see before moving to the system controls. Right-click anywhere in the background of the control screen and click Export to SymVue. Note right-clicking on an element that has a transparent background will show different results in the contextual menu, but Export to SymVue should still be present. If the control screen viewer is not in edit mode, the contextual menu will not include an export to SymVue when right-clicking on a control screen element like a button or text box, but an image will display Export to SymVue. Ensure the viewer is in edit mode and enter the Export to SymVue wizard. We can see 3 options: Windows PC, Control Server, and Touchscreens. Select Touchscreens and click Next. The panel selection screen is where you can include or not include different control screens in a configuration. For touchscreens, the home screen defaults to the one you right-clicked on to initiate the wizard. Note the Enable Control Screen referenced by Home area. This will be your selection of control screens included in this configuration. It will default to check and include all screens that have references to and from the home screen. Click Next to continue. Panel security allows for a password or PIN to be used on any or all control screens in the configuration. This password will be the same for all selected control screens and cannot vary between them. We will not use one here, but enter a password if desired and click Next. The hardware connection page is used to instruct SymVue on how to locate the Symmetrix DSPs in the current design. Typical relies on the IP address set in the site file to be the one SymVue will use when it runs the SymVue file. Basically, this is the option to use when the controlling touchscreen will be in the same subnet as the DSP. Advanced is required only if the Symmetrix DSPs are not on the same subnet as the SymVue PC, and the IP addresses of the Symmetrix units are not known when the SymVue export is performed. More information about both of these options can be found in the Help file by going to Help, Help Topics, and searching for SymVue Export Wizard. Select Typical and click Next to continue. Export Options is the last step. Export to touchscreens is usually checked by default. We strongly suggest selecting Go Online with Composer's site file to avoid control subscription errors which can be caused by the touchscreen, Composer, and DSP not syncing parameter controls. When ready, click Finish. This will export the configuration to the T7, push the whole site file, and update the archive on the DSP and Go Online. Once the push has finished, any touchscreens involved in the export should update shortly. The process for exporting to Control Server is similar. If we start over from the beginning of the SymVue Export Wizard and select Control Server, you will see that the panel selection section looks slightly different. This, much like the SymVue for Windows PC option, allows you to change the starting or home screen. The rest of the Export Wizard sections are the same as exporting to touchscreens. When selecting SymVue for Windows PC, the 2 differences in the process are allowing for a password in panel security instead of only a PIN, and adjusting the panel configuration for custom placement and scaling. This tech tip video did not cover setting up the control server itself. There is a document tech tip on the Symmetrix website under Library, Tech Tips, and searching for SymVue Control Screen Setup and Export that covers setting up the control server with users and user configurations. as well as other useful information about exporting SymVue Control Screens.